Security is at odds with convenience. Very true. Because if for you to even climb an aeroplane, yeah, definitely, you go through a lot of searches. It's inconvenient to a lot of people. Even check the security architecture of the church. At the gate there, it needs to be opened. You come in, you still meet security men here. You have to be allowed in and all that. It's inconvenient, but it's necessary. And then security also should be composed of layers. And those layers actually form deterrents. Because if you don't have those layers, the higher the number of layers, the easier and better for you to stay safe. But if it is loose, anybody could come in at any time and inflict any kind of harm to you. And then we also know that security is a matter of economics. If you check global security expenditures, you'll be marveled. If that has gone into development and other things, definitely it will be a better world. But for insecurity, you will choose security, definitely. Whatever you are going to spend, you don't mind. And for us to ensure our personal security as Christians, as we occupy before he comes, it is also known that it's only the living that actually occupy, because the dead will be like 6 feet under the ground, and that may not be what we want. If we don't stay safe and secure, it will definitely be that we don't actually use our God-given ability to stay safe. But we have to stand firm, because if you don't, you will never be. Matthew chapter 10, verse 22. Because it says that you will be hated simply because you are Christians. You will be hated. And we know what it is actually, because we've seen how the persecution goes. A lot of us are hated just because we answer the name of being Christians. And therefore, we have to be prepared in everything that we do, knowing that when Christ was even sending the disciples out, these were some of the words that he actually said to them. That was the 12. And we know that the biggest assignment he gave us before his ascension or after was to go out and preach the word. And if we don't prevent or secure ourselves, none of this assignment will do so. Therefore, we have to be very law-abiding, because there's nowhere in the scriptures where they told us not to be law-abiding. Because we have laws of the land, and laws that actually guide our behaviors wherever we are. And if we fail to abide by laws of the land, it exposes us unnecessarily. Therefore, we can be subjected to harm and also insecurity. Our vitals, or in the thoughts that somebody is watching, please, that is not very, very good. Because nobody protects your stuff more than you. You have to make a conscious effort to be sure that you are actually keeping it. And we know that we don't talk also of business transactions openly or loosely, because you don't know who is listening. Even when you think it's actually on a call, you don't know who is eavesdropping. Because technology has been good, it has also been bad. And those are areas that we get exposed easily because we are comfortable. We think we are comfortable about whatever is being said over the lines. We should not pretend also to be what we are not, because I've seen a lot of people get into trouble because they pretend to be what they are not, either ignorantly or knowingly. Some people will wear army camouflage and be parading themselves, or hang stickers of military personnel. Unfortunately, you may meet those people that actually are targeting military men. And then where are you in this position? So there's nothing better than you just being yourself and also being who you are. You know, you should be also sensitive about your environment, because wherever you are, you have to take your time to understand who is your neighbor and who is within your surroundings. Because if you dare not know exactly who it is, then you may be dining with a snake. And if you don't know that, there's no how you can protect yourself whenever it comes to the point that you are being tested. So, brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, it is very, very critical that we watch and understand and observe who is within our own space. And we say that it's also very important that we don't linger so much whenever you go out for legitimate duties. You could attend an event. Once you're done with the event, please leave. It's very important. Because most of the places where people suffer casualty of insecurity is because, in most cases, they tarry there for too long, longer than necessary. And then they become victims of that attack or whatever it could be. We have seen signs of this because the Madalla church attack, that's in the heightened era of the Boko Haram attacks. In Madalla church, actually, a lot of them, they have finished their normal service. World War II, from some narrations, were also the same. You finish service already, finish every activity that is required. And because they are doing it deliberately, because these criminals actually watch to see when the defenses are down, when security say, yes, our job is done for today, and then they go resting. And then that's the time they take the opportunity to strike. So we should be very conscious about that. We should also discourage our children, because children are very vulnerable. Discourage them from interacting with strangers and also receiving gifts from strangers. Because by that doing, they don't just get the children, they also get to you as a parent. And we know that we should not divulge our personal information easily to anybody, whether on social media or anywhere. Because doing that alone can easily expose you. We have said it so much already that once you think you trust the tech world and everything, unfortunately, where your own consciousness stops, that's where that of the criminal starts. Because they have that kind of mindset to beat you at their own game and any other thing. A lot of us here have domestic staff. It's not a bad thing, but let me tell you that that is also another way of getting through to you. We've had it in the media severally these days that a driver could actually get rid of his own boss for very trivial matters. And if you don't do background checks, that is exactly what you fall victim of. You don't know what their lifestyles are. You will never believe it if you have a driver, you don't know that he's a clubber. At the end, he goes to clubs every night, then spend a lot of money. And at the end of the day, he comes back in the morning to drive you, and you never care to know about those things. So it's very, very important. Even caregivers have been found to molest children in their own homes. And even if you are conscious also, as a person, of not exposing yourself because you live a modest life, it's these people also that can expose you. They could be doing YouTube videos inside your home, and actually because they know your address, they know the address of the person that is doing the video, you may not know that they are using it to track your own home. They may likely believe and think that it is actually the person's house. And then at the end of the day, when it all comes, it will end up in your house. So it's very, very important that we take notice of all these things. Security in and around the church. The church, in as much as possible, I know the security team is trying. I came in here, worshiping around 3 other churches before I eventually ended up here. But one day, Elder Kerry came to ask me to repark my car. And when he looks, lo and behold, he said he has never seen my face before in this church. That is some of the kind of security consciousness that the security team have around here. And lo and behold, I had to introduce myself, and we got to know each other right from that moment till now. This is my second time of speaking in this church. It's because he actually took interest and also was conscious to actually notice that I look strange. I'm a stranger. And that helped a lot. So in as much as possible, we know that individuals are more responsible for their own security, because if you don't secure yourself, honestly, nobody will do it better than you. So take this note. Secure yourself, and then that will help you in a lot of ways. You know, we said it already. The more security layers, the better in the church. The ushers are also like the intelligence team of the security department, because the ushers here will have to know, they can easily tell you who and who is who in the church. And I've seen that a lot also with most of the ushers. I'm surprised sometimes when we are taking baptism card, I will tell them, please bring my own, and then suddenly they will bring with my own name. It surprises me. But not surprised because I'm a security person myself. I know they are the intelligence team because they go around, they share envelopes, and they look at faces, because it's very important. First, face contact is very important. Even the visitors that come into this church, we have to know, profile them. That's why they fill the forms, and it gets into our record. And we used to know that in the old church, they always go around to count members inside the church. And during that counting, they always take note of who is where and how and who. Unfortunately, I don't know if you still count till today, because it helps a lot. Then, we know that also, the people you sit around, you should be able to know. Because if you sit down in this church, close and live here, without remembering who sits around you, then your personal security awareness is very low. We should be able to have that kind of consciousness whenever it comes to the point that we are actually coming here to worship and also look at ourselves. Making good use of technology helps a lot also. Because let me tell you, in the olden days, we know that a lot of people would have been seated very close here if we don't have the public address system. But the public address system gave us the opportunity to sit at almost every corner of this church and still receive the message. Why am I saying that? The public address system helps to be a tool, because the more you congregate closer, if there's an attack in this church, it's going to have the most ripple and the most powerful effect when you are lumped together in one place. But the more you are dispersed, it even discourages whoever is coming to attack, because he will feel that where will he start or where will he target, and then he loses his mind. That's always a very good tool. We have the public address system, we have live streaming. Live streaming is going on now. And definitely a lot of theft cases right inside the church have been exposed by live streaming. Because while you are doing it, the camera is even looking at you, you don't know. And then you are exposed. We've seen other churches that have made it necessary to even put CCTV right inside their church auditorium. Yeah, your risk appetite will determine security risk assessment of the facility you are in. If it is necessary, you put it. Because whatever place you are, you should know the vulnerability of that place, and those are the indices that actually strengthen you to be sure that this is what you would do to avoid being a very soft target. You know, at homes again, because our homes are also where we spend most of our times. If we don't secure our homes, it's going to expose a lot of us and our family. The most vulnerable one actually are mostly at home. We know that we should we should be very observant. Principally, I will mention that you should live within your peers. Living within your peers actually means that if you know you are a high-end earner and your lifestyle is showing in you, please go to that highbrow areas and live. Instead of you living in an area whereby you will be the only one running your gen 24 hours a day in the night. If a thief comes to that place, definitely you are an easy target. You are like a sore thumb hanging out. You are the person that they are going to attack. And if also you know that your status have not allowed you to stay in those highbrow areas, please leave that area. Why? Because even for your mental health, whatever other people are doing there, you will want to imitate. And then it will draw you out of your comfort zone, and you will lose track of whatever you want in this life. And secondly, if a crime is committed around that area, who would they look out for first? Who would they think? Unfortunately, me, that is not at the same level with all of them. So I'll become the victim all the time. It is very, very important. So in as much as possible, If there is technology to deploy, please go ahead and deploy it. And do that only when you have a security risk assessment carried out of the area, so that it will save you costs. It doesn't come cheap. It will help you to save costs and also to save life. You should also do routine checks. You may have a security guard. You may have facilities in that place. Please check them. Take your time to also check them. That means check the checker. If you don't do that, complacency actually sets in. Research has proven to us that even in the office, I know that there are things, jobs you will give your subordinate or associate, as we love to address them. You could give your associate a job. If they know you will not check that thing, research has shown that they will not do it, and it will go quiet. So, but if you are checking that, be sure that it is well delivered also. In the security in transit is very important. Almost all of us left our various homes to be here this morning. And then if we leave our places to come here, there are certain things we have to look out for, especially in Lagos, that we know that the cases of one chance are very rampant. And what can protect us from that? Don't ever rush to take in a bus, a taxi, or anything. Don't rush. Because I've debriefed a lot of people that have been victims of one chance. In most cases, they were actually in a rush. And then their defenses were down. They dropped their guards. And at the end of the day, they fall victim of these circumstances. And if you are driving yourself, you should use technology also. Beginning of your journey, you can always check your routes and be sure that those roads are free of traffic. Because most crimes also committed in Lagos here and our surroundings are also in traffic. So we have to avoid all those things to be sure that we can stay safe. And our personal security will be very heightened. You know, we also know that people travel a long distance. You have to be familiar with our routes and also identify safe havens within your head, also documented, so that if you have to break your journeys, you should know where to rest and avoid late nights, because most kidnappings actually takes place in the wee hours. And also, you should know where the kidnap hotspots are and try to avoid them. Because primarily, kidnappers are people like human beings just like us. And they would always like to hit, strike, and get the full benefit of what they are enjoying. They want to enjoy life. So they don't want to put themselves at risk. So we should also ply routes that are safe. Avoid shortcuts. Shortcuts get you into more trouble because they like the nooks and crannies of those places. It's often said that for you to be very intelligent and also avoid criminals, you should think like one. Because if you think like one, you will know the likely things that that person may likely want to do, and then you avoid them. With security at work, our workplaces also take most of our times. At the workplace, you should try to be as modest as possible. Because when authorities are speaking, people always try to put themselves in those authorities while avoiding the authority that is actually giving that instruction. What do I mean by this? The company decides to let you go. I have sacked you. Come and take your letter. Leave this place. You can tell the difference between these tones. Because if it is the authority or the company or the management that take a decision, please don't put it upon yourself, because it brings you more enemies. It brings you more, hatred than any other thing. Even if you are querying somebody, try to make it look very modest and be as transparent as you can. There's nothing that pays more than that. Just being straight to it. Because you have to let them know exactly where, if they err, this is what is going to happen. And if it doesn't work that way, then you unnecessarily get yourself exposed. We should also be very, very vigilant on leaving the doors, the keys, and entertaining several visitors at the same time, because we become vulnerable when we do that. Social outings are actually part of us. We are Africans, and we love doing them. And let me tell you one truth. Spraying of money, if not central bank now that made the money scarce, would have still be our culture or tradition. Because the laws are there for it not to be used. Unfortunately, because of our ego and with those things, it is not good, because it shows you off in the open, whereby people can track you, because seeing the way you display, you showed a lot of money and affluence, it makes you a very easy target. So let's be careful about that and avoid it in its entirety. Close families should know where you are at any time of the day, even if you are going on a social outing. It's very important. And then you should vary your routes. They should not know exactly where you are at any point in time. Some people actually beat their chest and say, they know me, they know that I'm here so from 7 p.m. I cannot be anywhere else than this place. Or if there's a premiership match, they know exactly where I am, they know where I used to watch it. And then that exposes you, please. We should be very conscious about those things. Because however it is, either good or bad socializing, we should be very careful for ourselves and also for our families. Late night outings, actually, the most vulnerable hours of the days are late nights, and then we should know that that one also should leave us no option than to avoid. People actually also get to social gathering and think they are networking when they will say everything about them. Unfortunately, if you don't know that person, and if you don't know the benefit of doing, please avoid doing that. Don't expose, don't tell everything about yourself when you meet somebody for the first time. There's no point. But if you have things that are of mutual benefit, arrange for a better place to meet and then share those ideas or share those kind of information that will be necessary. And we should not leave our drinks and food unattended to, because you could be vulnerable. Let's avoid that. Honor only invitations that you were given. Some people can go for a woof, and a woof can cause you wahala. At the end of it, why? Because when they skip you, they will look at your face, they didn't invite you, they will skip you. You know, you will feel bad. And apart from feeling that bad, at the end of the day, if those people that have actually made that party are people that are of questionable characters, you will be there thinking you are enjoying yourself, the place will be raided, and then you will fall. We know that the CBN has also tried to make it as cashless as possible, but this is something you should always think about also when you are deciding on which platform to use. Because in the quest for being fast and also wanting to be as compliant as possible, please avoid those ones that are not verified, because you can fall victim of that. When you are using ATMs, please use ATMs where it is well lit, and also avoid the wee hours of the day, and always be there with company if possible. And avoid taking money. Well, that one has been solved by CBN also. So, and even when you are at POS point of sales are very, very easy to use. But unfortunately, all they will need in POS is actually to take the numbers of your card, turn the back, get the 3 digits also, the expiry date of the card. They could do transaction on your behalf. If some of them don't have the second layer of verification to actually send you a one-time password, it could go. And if you are using an email, because some people go to very various lengths to even get your email and everything, and ask that the OTP should be routed through your email, and at the end of the day, you lose your money, hard-earned money. We know that our most ways of carrying cash nowadays is through polythene bags or brown envelopes. They even nickname them brown envelopes. So please avoid those things. Crime triangle. Those of us that are aware of safety, we call it, we have the safety, the fire triangle. The fire triangle has 3 components, that when those 3 components are available, fire can happen. But if any of them is not available, fire cannot happen. The same way with the crime triangle. The criminal will have ability. That ability resides with him. He can go and perpetuate anything he wants to perpetuate. He also has a desire. The children's school fees are there pending, and the criminal has the desire to actually use that ability to commit a crime. But he looks for one thing, and that thing is opportunity. Unfortunately for him, that opportunity does not rest with him. It rests with you as an individual. So please, if you don't understand anything I've been saying for the past 15, 20, or 25 minutes, please keep it in your mind that you have the ability, you have the opportunity to grant that criminal, to make him successful in actually perpetrating a crime against you. But if you are conscious enough, you will take out that opportunity and let them never, ever, ever succeed in carrying a crime against you. It goes from you as an individual to the church, to the country, and everything. That is exactly what we try to preach when we are talking on personal security. So, brethren, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Praise the Lord. Thank you very much, sir, for this wonderful presentation. Now, we stand for questions and answers. So, I don't know if some of us have questions. Please, can you raise your hand? Anybody that have a question, can you indicate by raising your hand? Okay, one. Okay, who again? Please, bro, Fred, you help us with the mic. Is there anybody again? Okay, two. Thank you. So we will take it in that order, 1 and 2. Thank you.
Hallelujah. Thank you so much. This has been a very great enlightenment on personal security, and I pray that we'll get the most of this. My question is on self-defense. I know, according to the law, it is supported by the law that we defend ourselves when we are attacked within the ambit of the law. But now we have a challenge as Christians where the scripture says, when Jesus himself said, when they slap you here on the right, turn the left and receive another one. Or if they say, come on, give me your jacket. Say, pull out the remaining clothes you have and give. Or if they say, come here, carry this load and move a mile. It says, go 2 miles. So my question is, how do we really address the issue of self-defense as Christians? Because I've been in the north where violence came right to my doorstep. And I know what it means to face violence face to face. With your neighbors that you've been living with for so long, just because of religion, you now become enemies. And then they raise their hand against you. So what do you do? That's my question.
Thank you. I want to appreciate you for your speech. I also want to ask questions that pertains to self-defense. Last year, I was almost prone to 2 attacks due to the kind of the work I do. I was inside a bush on a road, and there were about 6 these Fulani people by that side. They wore the same uniform, and there were 2 motorcycles that were on the main road. They didn't stand them, they were on the ground, while others were by the side. That day I said to Jesus, I'm coming home. But my determination is, before I will come and meet you, I will send 2 people ahead of me. So I had to change my motion. And those people carried those 2. They didn't have the chance of even standing them again. But they carried the two motorcycles out, and they were watching me afar. I don't know, is there any other way of one securing himself apart from me deciding that, okay, God, I'm ready to go? That same last year, I was planning a route. I don't want to mention those routes because there are people that will know those routes here. There is a small bridge. It cannot even accommodate somebody and a car. It is only for a single car. And the bridge does not have any security posts by the size. This Fulani man was coming with, he just removed his sword. But before I left the station that day, my mind was telling me, you are going to be attacked. Lord, I will kill somebody today. Because in that our area, we are prone to all those things. So immediately I saw him bring out the dagger. I too said, today, you are going. And I know if I should just be under a bit, I'm going inside the bridge. So I faced it. When he saw the motion too, he could not withstand me. How else can one secure himself? Recently, just last week, 2 people were kidnapped. One from even beside his wife. They go right inside their house and pick the husband. Another person, they go to where he was drying these cashew nuts and picked him right there. In the midst of people, because these are AK-47 weapon people you are using. How can one secure such people at that instance? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for this wonderful lecture. Sir, still on self-defense, but now I'm going towards children, especially the female children, teenagers that are prone to rapes. You know, most of the time, you know, some information I've been given that they should get pepper spray, or they should, maybe very early, you make children to learn some defense mechanisms, like maybe taekwondo or judo or even boxing. So I don't know, is it practicable? Is it possible? Is it achievable? Is it working? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I want to say about public transit, BRT especially. We are instructed not to carry any explosive chemical like PMS. You will see some people will package it in a nylon. And if you are trying to ask them, what is this in your bag? Some will come with quarrel and saying, it's ordinary, this thing. By, you know, deprive them not to enter, it causes some issues sometimes. But my major problem now is that, you know, most of these attacks sometimes in Abuja during Jonathan, when they bomb-blast a whole bus, I think they enter with the particular person that did that thing, carried the bomb inside a container into the bus, which nobody cared to check. Especially in Lagos, where we have a lot of crowd. Sometimes during rushing period, everybody just comes in with different luggage, which nobody tried to check. Sir, what can we do, or what can we say to the government so that these things can be checked?
Thank you very much, sir, for this wonderful message. My question is, there are sometimes at intervals, you know, we have the lowly people walking around us, the gardeners, in our place of work, the gatesmen. Sometimes at intervals, I try to give them things, money, because I feel, especially at some time of the month when I feel they wouldn't have anything. And somebody came to me and told me that I'm exposing myself to that. And actually, I actually stopped doing it, but I sometimes feel bad not doing it. So is it a kind of unsafe things I'm doing? Thank you.
Thank you for all the questions. I know there are a lot, but because we are also conscious of time, please, let's just face this one. And I'll try as much as possible to dig deeper into some of those ones that I think would be existing in people's mind while being conscious of the time. The first question was asked on self-defense. Yeah, I'm also from the north. We used to sing very popular songs when we had religious crisis that they would say, we will not revenge, God will revenge for us. But again, I believe my spiritual leaders here will also ascertain, because how could you just be a lying dog whereby you are vulnerable to be attacked and then you cannot also defend yourself? Constitutionally, we've been given that right. Thank you for mentioning it. We've been given rights to defend ourselves. As much as the type of aggression somebody is coming with, you defend yourself with the same. So there are no two ways about that. And if you check all the hints and also the tips I've been given here, is based on prevention. Prevention is the biggest tool you can ever use in anything. You avoid. Because if you don't avoid, then you are exposed to that situation. Then when it comes, you have to start thinking of what to deploy to also do that. Sorry, I didn't get the names exactly as they are being asked, but I took the question as question 1, question 2, and question 3, and 4, and 5. So on the second question, when attacks actually comes to people, within 10 seconds, there are kinds of emotions that lead in our body. We popularly call them the 3 Fs. You will freeze because you are shocked. You didn't know what is befalling you. And then suddenly, when that freeze is getting out of your eye, the next emotion will be flight. That means to run. And then the third one will be fight. Because all those emotions will come at the same time, whereby you need to take a decision. Which one are you going to use? Will you just freeze and remain there and be attacked or molested? Will you flight? Will you run out of the situation? Or will you fight back? See, all these things I've been saying, you write a lot of things down. But I'm telling you, at the moment that thing is happening, you only need to use your God-given instinct to help you to take you out of that situation. Because you are a very rational person. Believe in yourself first. I'm telling you this. Believe in yourself first. And your God's given ability to decide on the right thing to do and then move on. The time was too short. Would have done a little on security assessment, because you have to assess the situations. And there is a tool you can easily use within a very little fraction of time to take the most informed decision that will actually keep you out of that danger. So almost everything you have done, I give it back to you, that you have taken the right decision and you are safe to tell us this story today because you took the right decision. So in as much as possible, we try to make you to avoid those things. There is an illustration which we use. We call it the traffic light metaphor. When it is green, actually, when you are even driving, you know that you are free to go. You can take your route. It's actually your road. But when it is yellow, it is also often said that it is stop or move with caution. And that is exactly also how it translates in security. Because you have to see the indicators. You have seen people gathering there and your conscience is telling you that something could be wrong. This road is too lonely. They have never been seeing this kind of little movement on this route. And then you have to think twice to say, yes, I may just do myself a favor and go back. Because those who live to fight another day are the real heroes, not the ones that go into the fight knowing they will not win and they die, because they are carrying an AK-47. Do you know the speed of a bullet? It can go to as high as 5,000 meters per second. Usain Bolt, the fastest man on earth, did I think 9.6 something meters in 100 meters race. But the second will do it like multiple times before that one. So when they release a bullet at you, you have nowhere to hide. And then when it is red is just stop. And in security terms, it has already happened. You are in the midst of all that aggression. Those political radicals or those bandits have fallen down to, they are just on top of your head. The only wise thing to do and the only thing that should come to your mind is how to stay alive. And what do you do to stay alive? Is it your money they want? Give them. Is it your property they want? Give them. But if they are coming after your life and you have the intuition of doing something to stay alive, do it. Do not hesitate. Do not think twice. Just do it. Because that's the only thing that can keep you alive. And then the third question was shouldered on children. Yes, certain preventive stuff that you use, pepper spray, good. You even use GPS on children. Some of them, you buy them watches that are also GPS coordinated. When you see them going off track, you would know that this person is in danger. They also have panic buttons that you can have for children. There are security gadgets. I'm not actually telling you to be naive about these things. You know the type of risks that your children are exposed to. And definitely, just do it as required. Don't just overburden them with it and don't give them a life to live like children. But definitely, you know the indicators. Do not, please, I repeat this, do not ignore the signs if you are seeing the signs already. So if you see the signs and you need help in all these things, please consult. It's very easy to consult, so that you can put the protection, prevention around them, build it, so that they will stay safe. Self-defense skills are also good, but then generally, in most of the talks I engage myself in, is actually prevention. If she's attending lesson in a place where you know it is notorious for that thing, please, you as a parent should take that decision for that person. It may be expensive going to a safer place. Take the decision to avoid it. Avoidance of the risk is the major and very capable way of actually taking care of that risk. Avoid those places and teach them also to avoid those things. And then the fourth question has to do with BRT and people carrying a lot of explosive stuff and things that are actually also not safe. You will agree with me that in most cases where we have registered and recognized government transport agencies, either private, which during my presentation I say you should patronize them more than to patronize a Moluwe that has no restriction on anything. I believe that the government agencies and whatever, we are in a social media space nowadays, whereby even if you see it and unfortunately nobody wanted to take care of it, you can snap it and send it. Authorities will also look into it. You know, they like also drawing the crowds. Whenever something happens, you could have seen worse that happened that was not brought into the media space, and they are not taking care of it. But one that is a bit minor could happen, and then you take it to the media space, then they will act on it. So in as much as possible, even if you have identified it, if the means to detonate it are not there, then you are still in danger. So in as much as possible, even if it takes you to miss that trip, please, if your conscience just tell you that it is dangerous, you don't want to be victim of this, please stay out of it. You can allow that bus to go, and then you take the next one, or even the next one. It is very, very important, because your safety, do not compromise your safety. I hope that is understood. And then, for the fifth one, about lone workers, okay, the destitute among us. Yeah, it's unfortunate nowadays that people take advantage of the kind at heart to actually perpetrate evils. Please, there could be other ways that you can help them. Even if you don't need to give them raw cash, you can also give them supplies or stuff that can easily alleviate their ways of whatever they are feeling. But actually, it is also true that your generosity can expose you. If you hear during my presentation also, I also mentioned that don't give lift to strangers and don't take lifts also from strangers. Because our organ harvesters are everywhere. They can just destroy your life just to take one organ to sell to anybody that is also waiting to get it. So, however be it, please, you have to know, if there is no good background checks on those people around you, be very careful. But if a good background check is taken up on those people, and even if you want to do it, you can do it also by proxy. That will help. Because the blessing will still come to you. God sees in mysterious ways. He will still know that it actually came from you. Even if you have to give to them, and then don't expose yourself,